Very good morning, children. Welcome to our 8th standard social science class. Children, in today's class, let's see the continuation of the geography lesson hydrologic cycle. Now, let's see about the components of hydrologic cycle or water cycle. So, what are the main components involved in hydrologic cycle? There are 6 main components or phases in hydrologic cycle. They are the first one evapotranspiration, second condensation, third precipitation, fourth infiltration, fifth percolation, and the sixth runoff. Again I repeat, evapotranspiration, condensation, precipitation, infiltration, percolation, and runoff. First, let's see about evapotranspiration. What is evapotranspiration? It is the total loss of water from the surface water bodies and transpiration from the vegetation. It is the total loss of water from the surface bodies and transpiration from the vegetation. In transpiration, water is evaporated from leaf plants. In cropped area or in agricultural area, it is difficult to determine the evaporation and transpiration separately. Therefore, it is collectively called as evapotranspiration. Evaporation means eating up or the conversion of water into water vapor. That is what we call evaporation. And in transpiration, it is the evaporation of water from the plant. So both evaporation and transpiration collectively called as evapotranspiration. Let's see about evaporation. The definition of evaporation is: evaporation refers to the process in which the liquid form of water changes into gaseous form. So evaporation is the process in which the liquid gets converted into water vapor, that is into gaseous form, because of the radiation of sun. So evaporation refers to the process in which the liquid form of water changes into gaseous form. Children, can you see the water boiling? Yes, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, 212 degree Fahrenheit temperature. It actually begins to evaporate at 0 degrees Celsius in 32 degree Fahrenheit, and the process takes place very slowly. So water boils at 100 degrees Celsius temperature but actually begins to evaporate at 0 degrees Celsius, and this process takes place very slowly. Temperature is the prime element or main element which affects the rate of evaporation, which determines the rate of evaporation. During the summer days, the evaporation will be more when compared to the winter because of the heat from the sun. Then the aerial extent of surface water, wind and the atmospheric humidity are the other variables which affect the rate of evaporation. So main element is temperature. Aerial extents of surface water, wind and the atmospheric humidity are the other variables which affect the rate of evaporation. Many studies reveal that the oceans, seas, lakes and rivers provide nearly 90% of the moisture in the atmosphere through evaporation. How many percentage? 90% of the moisture in the atmosphere through evaporation. Then the remaining 10% is contributed by plants through transpiration. See, in the picture you can see about the precipitation, evaporation and the amount of water gets evaporated is about the same as the amount of water delivered to earth as precipitation. So the amount of water gets evaporated is about the same as the amount of water delivered to earth as precipitation. The evaporation is more prevalent over the oceans than precipitation. The evaporation is more prevalent over the oceans than precipitation. While over the land, precipitation routinely exceeds evaporation. So over the oceans, the evaporation is more, whereas in the land, the precipitation routinely exceeds evaporation. Over the oceans, the evaporation is more because of the water content. Because the evaporation rate is affected by the aerial content of the surface water, whereas over the land, the precipitation exceeds evaporation. The rate of evaporation is very low during the calm winds. So as I said before, during the summer time, the rate of evaporation will be more because of the heat from the sun. Whereas during the winter time, the rate of evaporation is very slow. So that's why it is said that the rate of evaporation is low during the period of calm winds than during windy times. The rate of evaporation increases with wind speed. If the wind speed is high, the rate of transpiration is also increases. Then temperature, humidity. Humidity is the moisture content in the air. And the last is aerial extent of surface water bodies. So the rate of evaporation increases with wind speed, temperature, humidity, aerial extents of surface water bodies. Now let's see about the definition of transpiration. So what is transpiration? Evaporation of water from the plant is what we call transpiration. Transpiration refers to the process by which the water content in the plants are released into the atmosphere in the form of water vapor. So transpiration means the water content in the plants are released in the atmosphere in the form of water vapor. So transpiration takes place in plants. The rate of transpiration is also affected by the temperature, wind and humidity. Temperature, wind and humidity. Then the soil water content and the ability of the soil to conduct water to the roots, the nature of the plant parts including barks and leaves also determine the transpiration rate. So the transpiration rate also depend on the soil water content and the ability of the soil to conduct water to the root, to the nature of the plants. In case of agriculture, the crop characteristics, its environment and cultivation practice also affect the transpiration process. So in the farming process, that is, in the case of agriculture, the crop characteristic and the cultivation practices also affect or determine the rate of transpiration. So far we have seen about evaporation and transpiration. Combinedly they are called evapotranspiration. So now let's move on to condensation. What is condensation? It refers to the process in which the gaseous form of water changes into liquid form. So evaporation is water will be converted into gaseous form to water vapor. Whereas condensation means again the gaseous forms of water will cools down or condense to a liquid form. So we call that condensation. As a result, excess water vapor condenses to form cloud droplets. Condensation is responsible for the formation of clouds. So as a result, excess water vapor condenses, that is cools down to form cloud droplets. Condensation is also responsible for the formation of clouds. These clouds produce precipitation, which is the primary route for water to return to the Earth's surface in the water cycle. Condensation is the opposite of evaporation. So, evaporation means the water will get converted into water vapor or gaseous form of water. So, condensation means again the gaseous form of water will cool down and return back to the Earth's surface in the form of rain. So, this process is the opposite of evaporation. Hence, condensation is opposite of evaporation. Now let's see the different forms of condensation. What are the different forms of condensation? Dew, fog, cloud, frost and mist. Let's see the definitions of each. First is the dew. The morning dew everyone would have noticed when you wake up in the morning. During winter season you can notice this dew. So dew is a water droplets formed by the condensation of water vapor on a relatively cold surface of an object. It forms when the temperature of an object drops below the dew point temperature. So condensation is nothing but it cools down. So dew occurs when the object drops below the dew point temperature. Children, you can see the water droplets on the leaves. So that is what we called as dew. The next form of condensation is frost. Frost is the ice crystals formed by deposition of water vapor on a relatively cold surface of an object is known as frost. It forms when the temperature of an object drops below the freezing point of temperature. The frost are the ice crystals, whereas dews are the tiny water droplets. So it forms by the deposition of water vapor on a relatively cold surface of an object. Object drops below the freezing point of temperature. Form of condensation is fog. Let's see about fog. Fog is the suspended tiny water droplets or ice crystals in an air layer next to the Earth's surface that reduces the visibility to 1000 meter or lower. For aviation purposes, the criterion for fog is 10 km or less. Aviation purpose means the flight, that is to flying an aeroplane. As for the aviation purpose, to fly an aeroplane, the fog condition should be 10 km or less than 10 km. That is, the visibility should be 10 km or less than 10 km. So now let's see about mist. What is mist? Mist is the tiny droplets of water hanging in the air. These droplets form when the water vapor in the air is rapidly cooled, causing it to change from invisible gas to tiny visible water droplets. Mist is less dense than fog. So mist is the tiny droplets of water hanging in the air. So fog is very thick when compared to the mist. Next comes the clouds. Clouds consist of tiny water droplets or ice particles where are small and light in weight. Clouds are formed by microscopic drops of water or by small ice crystals. The size of the droplets generally range from a couple of microns to 100 microns. This is the limit beyond which cloud drops becomes raindrops. So the clouds are tiny water droplets or ice particles which are so small and light in weight. So once the clouds get cool, it will burst in the form of raindrops. Clouds are formed by microscopic drops of water. Microscopic means tiny drops of water or by small ice crystals. The size of the droplets generally range from a couple of microns to 100 microns. So when the size increases, the cloud will burst in the form of raindrops. So cloud is one of the form of condensation. Children, do you know how condensation occurs? Let's see how condensation occurs. When the air gets saturated, warm air can hold more water vapor than cool air. Warm air can hold more water vapor than cool air. Saturation occurs when the temperature drops down. So, what happens? Saturation occurs only when the temperature drops down. Now we will move on to precipitation. The third main component in the water cycle process is precipitation. What is precipitation? Precipitation refers to all forms of water that fall from clouds and reaches the earth's surface. So after condensation, the water precipitated and again it returned back to the earth. So precipitation refers to all forms of water that fall from clouds. Next comes the different forms of precipitation in which the water return back to the earth's surface. The form of precipitation in a region depends on a kind of weather or the climate of the region. The form of precipitation in a region depends on the kind of weather. The precipitation in the warmer parts of the world is always in the form of rain or drizzle. The precipitation in the warmer parts of the world is always in the form of rain or drizzle. In colder region, precipitation may fall as snow or ice. So, in warmer regions, the precipitation occurs in the form of rain or drizzle, whereas in colder region, precipitation may fall as snow or ice. Let's see the first form of precipitation, the rain. The precipitation in the form of water droplets is called rain. The precipitation in which the size of raindrops are less 0.5 millimeter in diameter is known as drizzle, and the raindrops with greater than 0.5 millimeter in diameter is known as rain. So the size of the raindrops is less than 0.5 millimeter in diameter, it is called as drizzle. When the raindrops is with greater than 0.5 millimeter in diameter is called as rain. So children, rain is the most common form of precipitation and most it will occur in the form of raindrops. Children, I hope you all are clear. Now let's see the second form of precipitation, the sleet. The precipitation which takes place in the form of mixture of water droplets and tiny particles of ice, that is 5 millimeter in diameter, is known as sleet. The precipitation which takes place in the form of mixture of water droplets and tiny particles of ice, that is 5 millimeter in diameter, is what we called as sleet. Sleet means water droplets mixed with tiny particles of ice. This form of precipitation is the freezing rain. At other times, raindrops falling through cold air near the ground do not freeze in the air, so they will not come as ice particles. Instead, the raindrops freeze when they touch a cold surface. This is called freezing rain, and the drops of water are usually greater than 0.5 millimeter in diameter. So, children, freezing rain means the rain will not come as ice drops, but when it comes in contact with a cold surface or an object, it gets freezed. So, instead, the raindrops freeze when they touch a cold surface. The next form of precipitation is the hail. The precipitation, which consists of round pellets of ice which are larger than 5 millimeter in diameter, is called hail or hailstones. The precipitation, which consists of round pellets of ice which are larger than 5 millimeter in diameter, is what we called as hail or hailstone. The next form of precipitation is the snow. Snow means powdery mass of ice. The precipitation in the form of powdery mass of ice is known as snowfall. It is common in the polar and high mountainous region. It is common in the polar means the North Pole and the South Pole, and high mountainous region. Why is because it is covered with ice, or the poles will receive no sunlight at all. So both poles covered with ice. Let's see the hard words and its meanings. Humidity, amount of water vapor in air. Condenses, cools down. Deposition, overthrow. Microscopic, tiny scopic. Saturated, full of moisture. Drizzle, slight rain. So, children, in our today's class, we saw the first three components of hydrologic cycle: the evapotranspiration, the condensation, and the precipitation. In our next class, let's learn about the other three components of hydrologic cycle: the infiltration, percolation, and the runoff. So that's all for today's class. Thank you and have a great day, children.